GeekInsider presents Geek Speak with Matthew Harris and Meredith Loughran. We cover entertainment, news, and tech with special guest appearances. So sit back and enjoy as we geek out together right now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Geek Speak. Our special guest tonight is Leonardo Corbucci. He's an American-Italian author, director, and producer of television, movies, and commercials. He's also an international award-winning member of the Directors Guild of America, the DGA. He is back from abroad and here to join us and share his adventures and creative endeavors. Let's welcome Leonardo Corbucci.
Hey, hello everybody.
Welcome back, Leonardo.
Here. Thank you so much for the option. I didn't know what to do in this quarantine of 10 days, so this is perfect.
Now you are just back from Italy, yes?
Yes. I was there. I did a location scout for thriller that we may do there. A castle in a very small town. Everything was really, really beautiful. It's a new castle that I never visited before. And I was in a quarantine going there for 14 days. And then I visit this place. I visit other things. And then I come back here. And now I am in another quarantine of 10 days. So a lot of fun. Traveling right now, it's a lot of fun.
Now, when you're traveling abroad for one of these kind of projects like this, going to Italy, and you've got to be quarantined for 14 days, how have you changed your itinerary? You know, because that's 2 weeks worth of expenses where you're not generating any money, and you got to eat, you got to have a room and all that. How has that changed the way that you approach these kind of trips?
Well, in this case, I was lucky because I arrived in Rome, where my family is. So I spent some time, not one-to-one, but like video chatting with my family, and they bring me food. Actually, in Italy, even the government, if you ask, they are gonna do grocery for you. You believe it or not, there are some free service to help you in the quarantine time. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And 14 days at home, when you write a lot, they go pretty fast. So maybe the first day I didn't know what to do, the second also, but then I start to write left and right, and it passed pretty fast. The problem in Italy is internet that is not very fast. So here in America, we're used to have internet everywhere, and we do everything with internet. In Italy, they're not there yet. And it's not a negative thing for everything, meaning that they're not so addictive to internet, let's say. So some areas they don't have, high band. So there are limited things that you can do at home, like more sending email and do stuff like this. But I was very happy, and the 14 days they went fast pretty soon. The world is different when you travel right now. The airport some are empty, some are full of people. I saw even people without a mask in airports, and I don't know. It's very confusing. They don't know what to do. The regulations are not imposed strongly, but they're more like suggestion for the government, or a little bit more than suggestion sometimes. Even if they say the police will come, and if they meet you in the street, they will, just to make it simple, I did what they said. And so it's not easy to travel right now. Let's say that is not easy. And this is the reason why, if you are at home doing this kind of interview, it's much better.
I was going to say, going from state to state can be a little bit tricky. I can't even imagine traveling abroad and then trying to get back. And so, I mean, really, you have a month that you have to put aside just for the quarantining and the testing and all that. But I have to ask, so if you were over in Italy and you were filming something, what is that experience like? Because I'm really surprised that you're not shut down completely. That has to be a crazy kind of process and really, really time consuming, I would think.
Right. So I think now the most dangerous part is this. There are some countries that they're doing much better, like Italy. Italy was a chaos in the beginning and now is back almost normal. And then there was the summertime when I was there. A lot of people were celebrating in an island called Sardinia. And there was a new branch of this virus in Sardinia, and they come back all with the virus. And so all these people that was in Sardinia for holidays, they come back with the virus, and there was a new spread. So the problem that I can see is this. You may choose one nation now, or one part of the United States, that the virus is not spread so much. But then going there in pre-production and then in production, the virus can go back up there, and maybe where you come from is actually going down, and you did the wrong choice. So it's completely new, all of this, and it's not easy to manage, but you are trying to produce anyway, because otherwise, I don't know what else we can do. You know, I know that we talked to each other in February, I think it was
April,
and then I had 2 projects starting right away, but then all of these happened, and they didn't know how to manage us so much. I need to report to the DGA, and the DGA, that is the Directors Guild of America, give us some rules to follow, and they are right rules, and they have a lot of filmmakers to synchronize and to manage. So it's not easy. It's not easy. But
how does the DGA play into that, though? I mean, because I understand that Directors Guild. I mean, are they saying like how many people can be in a room? What are the safety precautions? All of those things. I mean, like how much really up their butt are they?
So the DGA also is the union of the first AD, and the first AD regulate the safety in a set. Mm-hmm. So the main concern is about they want to know what are you doing to prevent the problem to have COVID on set. Now, there are a lot of things that you can do, but there isn't a 100% sure way to don't have it. It's impossible, because in front of the screen, your actors, they will need to touch each other and act, and they don't have a mask. And so for how much you can try to manage this situation, the actors, they're risking to get it. And so until a little bit ago, the insurance company that insure big movies, but this was happening in the Hollywood movies, let's say, didn't even insure the movies anymore, because they didn't have, they didn't know, that the COVID didn't spread in movies. So I don't know how they resolved that part of insurance, because a lot of movies now they're filming. I have some friends, for example, in Spider-Man, in the last Spider-Man, and they're shooting in Georgia. I know the first AD, I know the second ADs. And they're doing really an amazing job. Try everything that they can to regulate and to divide every single categories. Like the people that build the set go in, and then they build, and then they leave, and then the people that light the set, they come in, they light the set, and then they leave. And then the gaffers, they do their job, and then the director, the cameraman, the crew is proud. But again, the actors, when it's about an actor that work from 8 a.m., even 5 a.m. until 9, 10 p.m. sometimes, and touch the other actors and have makeup and this and sound guys, I don't know how they can manage that. In my case, the 2 movies that I had right away, Legendary Set Photographer and To LA, To Cape Town, they were paused for a while, for a month and a half, and then the DGA finally give me the green light to produce. But then I had the trip of pre-production and location scout of the other movie, and so now I am in a little chaos, because I'm back and looks like I need to be green light again from the project that there was green light before.
No. Do you have to call them in every time you move to a different location?
No, but for a movie, I need to tell them that is happening. Because I am a member, I need to tell them the dates when I'm starting, who is the first AD, and where we are filming, and how big is the crew, and then they are evaluating if let me do the movie or ask me more questions, and so and so. For a legendary set photographer, like I told you before, it was very funny because we had this idea to put the camera on the place where the person to be interviewed is, and then put the light and everything, and then leave that room. Nobody will be there, and then the interviewer will enter, put the mic by himself, check the sound, and then push the record button by himself, and then I will be in another room many, many miles away, and I will be in front of a camera as well by myself with a mic and push record only me, and then with you put in post-production that we are in front of each other and the camera left and right. And so when they ask me, how do you prevent the spread of COVID, I'm like, nobody's around, guys.
I have a question. So, like, what if the lighting wasn't right?
If the light change or is not right, then you need to stop everything, send the guy again, the person will exit the room, the other guy will enter. We are obligated to do like this. There is no other option. And even like this, again, if there are actors in the scene that are touching each other, doing something with each other, it's going to be very, very, very tough. I have no answer for that. In fact, the other movie, this was legendary set photographer. The other movie I was supposed to shoot, that is called From LA to Cape Town, tell the story in this time. So the actors have the mask. So the actors are together, but they're also during the pandemic. So it was easier because then you have the two actors that they are apart, they have the mask. Because right. So if a movie is about these days, I understand you can prevent the COVID in this way. But if you're shooting the next Spider-Man like these guys, or the next Batman, like it happens, and the actors then they need no mask, and so what's gonna happen? And very curious for me, it's also about the screenwriters. What are they going to do right now? Are they writing script about 2020 that we are in lockdown and we have masks, or they're writing script about a society that doesn't have mask? If you write a story, what do you write? Mask or not?
Right. Do you think that once things are settled down, we get a handle on what the heck we're doing, mask or no mask, do you think that people are going to be sick and tired of this story? Do you think that this story, 2020, is maybe a movie 10 years from now?
That's a possibility, and nobody knows. That's a very good point, meaning that if 2021, if we'll resolve this catastrophe, let's say in 2021, we will not have the virus and it's not coming back, or we get the vaccine and everybody happy, then are people in our society ready to talk about the 2020 like this unbelievable, unique year that this event happened? And they want to watch the movies. They want to see what creativity inside this box can do. Or they were so sick of all of this happen that they don't want to watch anything to do anymore with 2020. I don't think that anybody can answer, This we will need to see. And I'm sure that people will try to capitalize both directions. There are a lot of screenwriters that they will do a movie about COVID, and a lot of people that are ready with comedies that they can't wait to tell a story without a COVID and without anything else, like acting that nothing happened, After all, Hollywood was existing when there were World War, and they were making movie about the World War, and they were making movie that the world was normal and simple, even if they were in World War, So I think they may try to do both, and then the audience will decide. And it's funny because you can't expect everything, because humans are very quickly to forget. So I'm sure that if we get a vaccine and we fix this problem, I believe that people will be very, 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 fast to go back to their life with a lot of people, and very fast. But some researchers, they said that we are actually keeping in our subconscious what happened in 2020 in the future. And this will modify, our thinking of go to the big crowd, even subconsciously. We will not notice, but we will not go there. We will not get too close. Italian and French people, for example, kiss on the cheek, friends, when they meet. I don't think so. They're gonna do this right away after. We will see. We will see.
And after 9/11, it was a couple of years before we started seeing some mainstream movies about it. And so I guess, it's going to have to get to that point where enough time has passed that we can reflect on that. But we're going to be right back, folks, with some more with Leonardo Corbucci. I definitely want to talk about Cyborgs Universe and what has been going on with that, because you've got a lot of fans with Cyborgs Universe. And so stay with us, folks. We'll be right back with more with Leonardo.
This is the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to us wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Also catch us on the HWWS Web TV YouTube channel. Subscribe today and become part of the legend.
Quick little break.
All right.
You're muted, Mara.
I was going to say, and we're back with Leonardo Corbucci.
I can see your mouth moving, but there was no words coming out. I love saying your last name.
Do you roll the top?
Now, Leonardo, as you said earlier, we first met in April when we did our first little, what we called a virtual con. And, you've got this quote unquote little show on Amazon Prime called Cyborgs Universe. And it's really has a lot of international fan base. Now, I know, of course, production has been on hold, but is there anything in the works for another season?
All right. So I can't say. Right now, the show is in United States, UK, Austria, Germany, and Japan. And new territory are unlocking. I don't remember exactly. I think the next one is France. I don't know, because we need to shoot another season, but in this condition, guys, I don't think so we can do it, because it's a lot of work. It's an action sci-fi. People need to be attached to cables, and there are long hours. They're sweating a lot, and there are a lot of people in one room. And we are not producing in a studio way, so we don't have a humongous budget to be able to do what they're doing. For example, my friends with Spider-Man,
Right.
with Spider-Man. So in this condition, I don't think it's possible for us to produce the new season. So we will need to wait the situation to get better. I don't know if the virus will go down, they will find a vaccine or anything else, but we need a stable situation to be able to produce season 2. Right now, we are following the season 1, the 8 episode of season 1 that are out. We have a lot of extra material. We may release some extra parts that the audience can watch. And I know that there is a different reaction depending by territory. Japan liked it a lot, and in like Germany and in America, the situation is different. So we may go on with the extras and maybe some interview of the actors, try to interact with the fan of the show, because this is possible, by at home, like we're doing right now with Zoom conferences, and you publish in the website. But to produce something, we are a little bit far from that, unfortunately. Yeah.
How crazy would it be? Because especially if you have a really tight budget and a small crew, or maybe a bunch of friends who are kind of getting together, right? I mean, how crazy would it be to kind of quarantine together just to get it done?
Right.
I don't know. Is that crazy?
That's like the MMA and NBA are doing. They're creating their bubbles.
And actually, there are some production that are doing this. So they basically said, from this date to this date, everybody will be together, and nobody is allowed to get out. Now, there are some problem on this as well. So the first problem is that doesn't prevent the fact that you can get the COVID, because the only difference is that if somebody have the COVID, everybody will have the COVID, and everybody will be together, and they don't spread out the virus, but everybody in the set will have it. And the problem number two is that there is always in a set is a big family, right, on production. Right. There is always somebody that you think is smart, that is going out in town and meet other friends and come back and say, no, I didn't leave. I can't take that. And then, because everybody are sure that nobody ever went anywhere, they will get the virus, because they will pat him in the, they will say, oh, we are all united in this place and nobody get out. So we're sure that nobody has the virus, but before this person. So again, there is no 100% sure way to produce a movie right now without COVID.
Yeah, because I had just mentioned that the NBA had their little bubble, and the MMA, Dana White had the bubble. But what was it, 2 weeks ago, one of the MMA fighters tested positive after being in this bubble. And I don't want to call him out especially because he could kick my ass, but he could have been one of those ones that was sneaking out and going out on the town, or he could have just ran into somebody that did, that, hell, I want a drink, I'm going to go into town and have a drink.
Right.
And, I think that's one thing that is going to change a lot about Hollywood and independent filmmakers as well. Because there is so much unknowns right now. I mean, we've still got a few months left in this year, let alone, we're just now coming up on winter. We don't know what's coming up. Is there going to be a resurgence? Are we going to see the death rate spike? Or is it just, hopefully, God willing, we do get a vaccine that works, very soon, so that we can get through this. But a lot of the things that I have read said this is basically kind of the gateway pandemic, because they're expecting a lot more within the next decade.
Right.
And, so is this going to be the quote unquote new normal? Are we going to have to adjust, or is it just going to be temporary? Of course, that remains to be seen. But what are the independents going to be able to do? Because, like you said, they don't have the big budgets of Spider-Man.
Right.
They can't afford to go into a bubble and say, okay, we're all staying on this lot for the next 6 weeks. Nobody's leaving. We're getting this sucker filmed, especially when you're doing a series, because a series takes a lot longer than a 2-hour movie to produce. But I had a question somewhere in there and I totally forgot it. So Meredith, I'll shoot it over to you.
Well, I actually wanted to pivot a little bit and ask about the Legendary series, because I was at your website and you do create documentaries.
Yes.
And then I saw something about suggesting the next Legendary movie. How does that work, and what are you looking for?
So the Legendary series is a series about kind of interview legendary people that they change the business of entertainment. And you do this in different aspects. Like the first Legendary was Legendary AD. And the first AD is a figure on set that very few people know exactly what he do or she does. And so the documentary explained this figure and the art of being a first AD. And it was very interesting even for me to make the documentary, because I learned a lot of things. And when we interviewed, we found this first idea of the most legendary movies, from Superman, Batman, the Tarantino movies, Spielberg movies, you name it. And we spoke with the first AD. So they even had so many stories to tell of what happened in this set that we barely made it in 2 hours. We had so much material. and the documentary is very fascinating. I really, really love it. And in this direction, he will go to meet other legendary figures, and we want to continue in the direction of these people that we don't know so much in a set. Like, for example, set photographers, you know, we don't know so much about this figure. It's like invisible on set, taking pictures, but he's so talented that sometimes directors go to see the point of view of them. It's not a secret that Quentin Tarantino does that, you know. He has a very talented set photographer, and when Cooper go in a corner, a specific corner to take the picture, and then Quentin goes there to see the same angle, what look like the set from there. And sometimes he put the camera there because it's an interesting point of view, you know. These interesting things, if we don't make documentary, nobody knows. And about cinema, there are a lot of people that love so much cinema and love so much specific movies that they really want to know everything about it. And we receive a lot of letters, for example, like, hey, I saw the first idea of Scarface. I have a lot of questions about Scarface. And they were asking me questions about Scarface. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't answer this question for you. And I didn't want to connect the first idea of Scarface with it. But so this explains how many lovers there are of a lot of specific movies. Okay. So in this legendary series, we will go on legendary set photographer and maybe DP and producer and director in the end, and try to put before everybody else that are in a side that people don't know so much. You know, set costumes design, set design, music composer. You know, and for this reason, in the website, we ask to the audience to see what are the answers. What are the most common answers? What do you want to see next? Which one is the documentary that you would like to see, you know? And a lot of people put producer, but I don't know if they know what a producer really does, because a producer...
I don't. I had that down as a question. What does a producer do? For real. I've been wanting to ask somebody that. So go ahead, yes.
Because a lot of time the generic audience, you know, and is right in this way. They're not in the business, so they don't care. They don't know. They think that a producer is putting money in a movie, but is not actually true, because the producer never put his money in a movie, or very rare. He managed the money in a movie. He organized, or she organized the movie, and she spent the money to organize the movie. But in Hollywood today, it's very difficult to understand how they start their career. You know, maybe this guy connect the money with the talent, and boom, he's a producer. Or maybe he's an actor friend of another actor and made the movie happen because the actor said yes, and he's a big movie star and start the project, and boom, he's a producer. You know, so the producer I think is a very magical part of movie making, where the magic of Hollywood is in the air, you know, and so that would be a difficult one, because I don't know if producer will be open to tell their secrets. Probably not.
Right.
Will be interesting. That one will be very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And answering the question of what independent filmmaking will do, where are we going? Well, I really hope this virus will go away as soon as possible. But that's my hope. And then I need to be ready to stay with this situation as long as necessary, even a new normal, like you said, you know, that is forever, or how long it takes, or I will survive. And so it's very stressful, but I think the filmmakers will need to adapt on the situation and use the tools that they have to produce their imagination in their mind. For example, I have a friend that he started a stop motion movie, and he had so much free time, and he did this incredible stop motion. And now a studio is interested to do a TV show, a series with this stop motion, and he's really excited. But he said maybe these people have no idea the amount of time that he needs something like this. Or in another direction, just technology. You know, we had a lot of seminars about, for example, this new technology that they use in The Mandalorian. where there are screens on the back of the actors that they move in sync with the camera. So when the camera moves, the background of the screens move. And this is made with Unreal Engine that is used for make video games from a company called Geek Games that does a very, very, very popular game called Fortnite. This may change the business because it's not only very easy to produce in this way, but the result is astonishing. It's beautiful, and they show us that you can put a forest in the background. Boom, you have a forest, and then you have your actor, and then he said maybe he's in a hill, so let's put down the forest. Boom, the forest is down, and you have a point of view of a hill, and it's all live, and the background is alive. So you want more, I don't know, more birds crossing the frame, you have more birds. You want more clouds, you want rain, and it works. It works perfectly. You will be not able to see the difference with the reality. The problem right now is it's very expensive. So again, the problem of independent filmmakers, they need to face the fact that this is extremely expensive day per day. So maybe they can find a way to do something similar with other techniques. I don't know, but we will be pushed to do these things. So to stay at home, we will be pushed to try to produce in a way that makes sense for everybody. And this is a good direction. You know, I see the technology in 2020 to make movies, the CGI and everything else is gonna go up because it's the only opportunity for us to make movies. Even if filmmakers at the same time, they can't wait to go out on set and shoot a movie in a normal way. Right.
Yep. I got it, Meredith. It is break time. We're going to take another quick break, everybody. Just a quick 30-second break, and then we'll be right back with some more with Leonardo Corbucci, the producer extraordinaire and our friend. So hang tight, everyone. We'll be right back.
Check it out. MobileEdge.com has award-winning products with innovative features and contemporary, edgy designs that empower you to look sharp and travel smart with your mobile tech. Your beloved, not to mention expensive gaming gear and mobile tech devices are an extension of you, so give them the protection and style they deserve wherever you go. Find them at MobileEdge.com and protect your tech with Mobile Edge. Bring it on. Hey Geek Insiders, Mobile Edge has a special coupon code for our dedicated listeners. Get 25% off your Mobile Edge gear using coupon code GEEK25. That's GEEK25. Geek out.
Now, real quick,
I love you.
Yeah, Meredith, that's all her. I write them up sometimes, or I give her an idea and say, hey, this is what we should do, and then she blows them up. But I do want to tell everybody that's out there listening on Indie Volt Radio, don't forget, folks, that you can go to YouTube and watch on the Indie Volt channel or the Geek Insider channel. When we're doing these shows live, we are also on YouTube and our Facebook. And so while I have a face for radio, a lot of the times you're going to want to see our guests. We show videos and images and stuff. And so just make sure that you subscribe, because it's not just Meredith and me over there on Geek Insider. We have a lot of other shows. We got some other shows that are coming on board. Some stuff that you're really going to enjoy. So just make sure you subscribe to Indie Volt on YouTube as well as Geek Insider. And we're back with Leonardo.
I want you to cover your ears for a minute, because I'm going to yell at some people.
All right.
Listen, if you are tuning in, make sure, I'm piggybacking off of what Matthew said, go over to the YouTube channels, go to Geek Insider, go to Indie Volt Radio, hit the subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Here's the reason why. Because we've got programming that's going out 7 days a week, several shows a day. And you know what? The YouTube channel, that is, it's not quite to the point where we can monetize it yet. That monetization is going to help with the broadcasting. It's going to help with paying for services to upgrade the equipment and things like that, and really expand on the broadband that we need to really bring these shows out into the world and share it with everybody. So if you're listening, go over to YouTube, hit the subscribe button. It's really a button. It's not that hard. All right, back to you, Matthew.
All right.
Oh, and actually, I was going to ask Leonardo, for those that tuned in April, and we kind of discussed this before we came on air. You had mentioned that there was a couple of projects that you had going, and I know you've kind of went and did some location checking and stuff, but you had alluded to one that you had kind of in the works with somebody big from Walking Dead, The Walking
That's
Dead.
right.
And you couldn't tell us anything about it then. Apparently, you still can't tell us much about it, but I want to get an update for the audience that did tune in last time.
That's right. I can't still say anything about it. There is a lot in The Walking Dead that is starting. There are a lot of spin-off. There are a lot of other series. So there is a huge universe. I don't know if it's too much or if there is really the audience want all of this. I am one of these that loves so much The Walking Dead. So whatever you put there, I'm going to watch it. And our show is not related with them at all. It's just that I was writing the script with one of the actors, and then we were supposed to have something official come out, but we can't say anything yet. And I don't know, because we are on the edge of a big production, but not a studio level. So they need to figure out if it's worth it to try to start production or pre-production, because when you start the mechanism of this big machine, it spends money from day one. And if you don't go anywhere, you spend a lot of money still, even if it's weeks of pre-production of production. Right. So for now, we are back to the same position where we were. It's a sci-fi, what I can say. It's a post-apocalypse as well, but zombies are not involved. So that's all I can say for now.
I have to ask, as a Boondock Saints super fan, is it Norman Reedus?
I wish he was, because I love him, but he's not. He's one of the others. Yeah. But I'm happy to work, of course, with him or her as well, because it's absolutely perfect for the show. And so I wrote the show, for her or him, actually. So for me, it's a dream coming true. So I can't wait to start.
Look at him covering his bases with a him or her. He's covering his bases. He doesn't want to reveal.
Yeah, you need to be very careful. Even for this location scout, for example, of this new movie called Inferno, is a thriller. We already contact some actors, and we're talking about it. But I don't know if I can tell, because they're answering us. So we are approaching to do our first press release, and I was talking to an assistant, and I was like, should we say that at least we spoke with these actors? Because that's not a lie. We asked if they're interested, and they said maybe send more info. But we still don't know if we can write the names of these actors just because of what? Hollywood is a strange animal, So you need to be careful when you are dealing with these people that they have like 2 managers, 3 agents. It's very frustrating. So we will see from the press release what can we say about everything. Everything. Oh, I think
I'm on mute again. I was going to say that's so frustrating because. It.
I know that.
What you were saying earlier with the way movie making is, for me personally, I see it as either going like really all virtual CGI. Are we getting rid of the actors and the actresses? And then on the flip side of that, like the total budget, like I got my cell phone and I'm going to make a movie because I can. And I see it, I don't really see a lot of middle ground with that. For you, because you've been doing this for a while, this must be very frustrating. Do you find, I guess in a way, it's almost like an identity crisis. Where are you going to go?
Well, the point is this: Hollywood is all a speculation. Is all speculation. So an actor will bring X interest to a movie, and so it will bring money. So it's all about this speculation of which actor is in your movie and who is the director, where you're shooting, what is your budget. And this is not necessarily related with making movies. Like you said, you're absolutely right. Everybody can be a director, absolutely everybody. And today is the best moment to be, because it's so easy to have a camera and to film something, even too easy sometimes, that it brings so much stuff on front of our eyes that is more difficult to choose. But at least we can produce, Back when I started, because I'm very, very old, there was film. And so to produce something...
I think we're both older than you.
Oh, whatever. You guys look young, so doesn't matter. When I started, there were film. So if you didn't have money to buy the physical film of the Super 16 or even the 35 millimeter, you were not shooting, period, And then mini DV come and digital. The first digital was so bad that if you use it, was almost useless. So you were wasting good ideas, good actors. And this is very frustrating, Even if in the end, if you have good actors, and a good story, it's you can film it with a phone, like you say, is gonna get justice, because it's most of it is all about acting and the story. Doesn't matter if you shoot in 70 millimeter or not, but at least you have the possibility to do it right now. So to be a filmmaker is very easy, and like we said before. These have nothing to do with how Hollywood make movies, because that is all about speculation. It's a game of, the agent of this, the other actor, you have this investor. It's almost, sometimes I feel like I'm playing a table game, these table games that is like, I don't know.
3D chess.
Yeah, or like Monopoly or Hotel. So you need to go to this person, and they will give you this permit that you will go with the other, and now you know that guy, and you can talk to him, and you can send him email. Yeah, it's very frustrating. But it's part of the game. If you don't want to play this game, well, you should not go to Hollywood, probably.
Now, Leonardo, I want to kind of switch gears here for a minute, because you filmed, you do sci-fi, and you're delving. You said you're getting into some thriller kind of stuff, and so and I know most directors that we've spoken with and producers, they all have at least one project in the back of their mind that if a studio came to you and they said, okay, Leonardo, we're going to give you an unlimited budget. Do you have that film in your head of, exactly which one you would want to make? Yes.
I have a project called Ulysses that is an existential sci-fi, basically, that is in the space a lot. And that require a lot of money. Otherwise, it's not even worth to start. And this is one of the projects that I wrote many, many years ago, and then retouch it here, retouch it there, and is one of these projects that is ready if a studio is coming, And it's funny because in my mind I had some actors, but now time is passing, so I'm like, should I reconsider the actor, because we're getting old? So is there an astronaut to be believable if he's getting old? But then I see Elon Musk and his new experiments on the space, and I see a lot of astronauts that are now very young, and I'm like, so it is possible to have a 60 over, go to the space and come back, and I wasn't aware, so I'm like, that might be okay. So I rewrote the script again. So there are some adaptations, but I think every single director, because we write so much that you always have a script ready for something, And I believe the inspiration come every single time I was in quarantine in Italy and I had an inspiration for something, and then I'm here, I had an inspiration for another. And then you develop a project until one point, and then somebody's asking you about that other project, or you find finances for another, and then you need to pick up and go back. And then we had this location scout for this thriller, and we have some money from the region of Italy that will invest. So I went back to that script. If you are a director, I think you are constantly going back and forward on different projects all your life. And after all, there are a lot of big examples. I remember it was famous that Steven Spielberg was editing Schindler's List when he was producing something else that wasn't so intense. So try to think about maybe make a comedy or something when you're editing such an intense movie like Schindler's List. And he made it because he won an Oscar as well, I believe, or something like that.
Yeah, several, I think, that film
It's
did.
possible.
Yeah. Well, we are going to take one more quick break, everyone, and then we've got some more questions for Leonardo, and we're going to wrap things up. But just remember, everyone, we are here on Monday and Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern with Geek Speak. Meredith, who do we got later this week?
Oh, you're going to make me look at the
I
calendar?
got it.
That's like the one tab I don't have
We
open.
got Scott Donnelly, and Evan Bond, which they are some horror authors.
Yes. Yes, they
And
are.
then next week we have got The Dead Enders on Monday, and then on Thursday we got Leisha Tan, who is a stop motion director.
Great.
And she's someone that came across our desk. She's got something that's coming out on October 1st, I believe. It's right after our interview. But anyway, stay tuned, everybody. We're going to be right back with Leonardo, and we're going to hear some more about the great works from Mr. Corbucci. And I got to find out which commercial I wanted to play. Oh, here it is.
Now, every Sunday morning, longtime independent comics creator and Indie Volt podcaster Randy Zimmerman hosts a discussion on the lighter side of comics, the more whimsical and fun comics out there on the Sunday Funnies. That's 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every Sunday on Indie Volt, indievolt.com, the Indie Volt YouTube channel, and the usual Indie Volt sites on Facebook. Listen in, won't you? Participate in the chat. Let's have some fun. See you there.
At GeekInsider, we foster relationships with those in the geek sphere so we can give our audience the insider view of entertainment, tech, and more.
All right.
And we're back. And you know that Sunday Funnies, man, Sunday is the one day that I actually on purpose sleep in, and 9 o'clock Eastern is just too early for my old ass. And so I have to watch the replay because I do, it's like I've told him is the Sunday Funnies. That was the one thing that I did every Sunday. Dad would grab the sports section or the Metro or whatever. And, I would grab the 5 or 6 page color comics. And then, of course, for a long time, you'd go in and you'd get the Beetle Bailey comic books or, some of those funnies. Because when I was younger, that's what I was into. I didn't get into the superheroes until I was an adult. I mean, I always liked Batman, the old Adam West, but I wasn't into the comics until the 80s or the 90s, excuse me. That's when I really got into the superheroes. And then my OCD, I really got into the superheroes. I mean, you got the tattoos everywhere and all of this crap stuff.
I'm kind of curious to know, Leonardo, do you like comic books?
Yeah.
Do you read them? Do you follow them?
I grew up with manga. I grew up with the Japanese version of all of this. And they are quite different. Let me try to think about it. So in the American culture, I think you have these superheroes that they have a costume that is very recognizable, and they have the superpower, and they are different. And I think the audience likes to see these guys that are very different. They have superpower, and they go in a different world. And I like Batman as well, especially because it was very realistic, especially when Christopher Nolan did his movies, and I really like them. But the mangas are quite different. The manga, they can go in a very realistic way. There are some manga about, I don't know, a wine tester, for example, and it's a full manga of a lot of numbers, or it can go very creative in direction that you can only design something like that. So this is the reason why I really like manga, because it's a universe that not even a filmmaker like us is very easy to approach, because you need to realize in computer graphic or with a lot of effect, frame by frame, a lot of extraordinary things. So it's much easier to draw these frames. So mangas can do unbelievable things, especially think about a fight. So if you make a choreography of a fight, with the camera, you need to move the camera, you need to move the actors need to be able to do that fight. Right. And if you use the cable, you need to use the cable, eliminate the cable. When you're drawing a manga, everything can happen. But not only that, if you have a detail, you can make it bigger, you can go in a point of view where you cannot put the camera. So the creativity and the freedom that you have with comics and manga is unbelievable. And so this is the reason why I think a lot of filmmakers, they read manga, because visually it's the same business. For us, it's look like a new storyboard every manga. So I really love it.
And see, and that's one thing that I never had, and it's not that it doesn't appeal to me per se, but I've never gotten into manga. I have seen it. I mean, of course, I loved Speed Racer growing up, and that was, people argue that it's not manga, but it is. The old Speed Racer cartoon was manga. But I also know that I've had a lot of people telling me that there are certain ones that I would just absolutely love.
No, I think it's a question of culture, meaning that growing up in Italy, we were influenced by manga and not at all about comics. We really didn't have anything of comics. Maybe Spider-Man, that's it. So growing up, when you are 4, 5, 6, 7, you pick up what you find at your store in front of your house or something like that. And so in the TV, there were anime, again, from Japan. I think Italy, for some reason, choose Japan as main source of entertainment for kids. And here we are, brainwashed 20, 30 years later, that we love our manga, But I'm sure that if I was born in LA or New York or Seattle or any other city in the United States, I will grab at 4 or 5 years old a copy of a superhero. And not a manga. In fact, my son, that is 7 years old, is a very big fan of superheroes. He doesn't even know what a manga is. And I need to be honest, maybe mangas are a little bit more for adults rather than kids, because some of them, they can be very extreme on a lot of things that are only in the adult world, let's say.
Violence, sex is a big part of it. Right. So I gotta put you on the spot then, man, with you growing up with manga. What is let's say your top 3 favorites?
Oh, wow. So the first one is probably one called Conan, but it's not Conan the Barbarian, but I think the original title is The Big Wave. And is about a little kid that woke up after the world is over. There is a big apocalypse where there is a tide, and the water swallow a big part of the world. And some science try to fix it, but they're not able. They create a missile. They go in a society to try to save themselves. And he wake up in this island, and he need to find Lana. Lana is a girl that he see for a moment, and then all the manga. He's him against the other bad guys trying to save Lana. This is Conan. This is my favorite number 1. And then there was another one called Okuto no Ken. It's called Ken Shiro. And then we arrived to Dragon Ball. And then even there is one recent, the most recent maybe is Naruto. That is very cool. Or Attack on Titan is also very cool. And yeah, there are so many. And Yo-Yo is another very cool. There are many where the creativity is so big. Like, again, we're talking about fight choreography. You know, if you see some fight scenes of Naruto, it's so cool how they decide this fight to go, with the guy with the sword go, and then they block the end, and you can do some stuff that they're very simple visually, and you don't think as a director. You know, of course, if I show a person very far and then I show the same person next to the other character, then in your imagination you presume that the guy moved very fast, and maybe you don't need to show anything else. And when you're reading a manga, you can see that visually it works, and so this is basic of directing and visualization as well. So I think manga can help a lot these young fellows that are listening to, if they want to become directors. You know, I know that a lot of other people will say, no, this is something that you don't read too much comics or manga because, I don't know, whatever reason. But I say, well, if you want to be a director, you can have the excuse that is your job. So you can say, I'm sorry, I need to buy these comics, mom or pop. This is my future job. I need to exercise my memory to think on picture, because that's also where it helps a lot. You buy these comics, and you understand how to tell a story frame by frame. That is exactly what we do. So it's really a gym for a director. You know, if you want to be a soccer player, you go to exercise for soccer. If you want to be a director, one of your exercises is to read comics. Here we go.
That's really interesting. So now I know that you do documentaries. I know that you've done television and produced some movies. Have you ever actually thought about maybe producing like an animated series, or turning maybe one of your favorite manga or comic book into?
I would love, and I think eventually we will go in a position where 3D animation is very, very, very believable. So we were talking about the Unreal Engine, and engine basically used today for games, but you know, the next generation games, and then the one that will come in the future, even more in the future, that will be so realistic that maybe you can use this engine to create a movie, and it will be very easy, because it's like play a video games, you know, and it's very addictive. When you play a video game, after all, you have a perspective, you have a character that is walking, and so if you do certain things, you are directing a movie. So if your character go to grab, I don't know, a banana in the kitchen and then go back to the bathroom and then exit from the house, you actually direct that character to do that actions. And so for you that you're watching a scene that you direct. So maybe if you evolve this scenario and it's very believable, you can play a video game and direct a story, you know? So I think it's going to happen. And because the engine is so believable, actually that story maybe is an animation, or is something in between. I don't know, but I think I will go there. I will try to explore that. I have some Chinese friends that are really into that, and they have a lot of technology, a lot of power, a lot of money, a lot of people, and they're doing crazy things.
Well, look what they did with the Star Wars prequels with Grand Moff Tarkin. You know, you know, I can't remember the actor's name right now, and it's going to kill me. But you know, he had been dead for quite some time, and they bring him in, and sure, if you looked close enough, you could tell it was animated. But that was what, 5 years ago now, 6 years ago. And so that technology has come so much, you know, forward. And the same with video games, man. I play some, you know, like Injustice 2, and those different things. And when they do the cut scenes, that shit's like a freaking movie. You know, you hear the voices of actors, of course, that you're used to. And there's so many just cool things that I do think the future is going to hold for entertainment purposes. I would, you know, no, do I want to put actors out of their job? No, But I would like to see some movies to where somebody that is very talented is able to sit and make a movie, with Biggie and Tupac and all of these guys, and you can't tell that it's not real. It's just that you don't even have to suspend disbelief. It's like, holy shit, Tupac's here in this movie. And I do think that we're a lot closer to that than we've ever been before.
Right. I think there are two big options, right? So there are a lot. For example, I try to explain. In a lot of movies, especially Hollywood movies, where they have a lot of money, there is a lot of CGI that is invisible, that you guys have no idea that is there, and I do not have idea that is there as well. So meaning that when there is a mistake, they need to remove something, or when they need to put an extra thing on the shot, or half is real, half is not. This is all invisible CGI, meaning that there is I don't know, a Starbucks cup, and then they remove it.
And Game of Thrones, yeah.
In Game of Thrones, it was an advertisement idea, but so it's very common in movies that there are a lot of digital in and out, and we have no idea. Okay. Also, it's important to think that if the mind is strict, it's gonna change the picture. So when you trick the mind, the game is done. There are a lot of scenes where I was on set, I shot it by myself, and then the CGI guy come and change it, and watching, I believe what the new scene and the new CGI is. It tricked me. I was there.
I shot this scene, and
I filmed it, and because my mind is strict. So this is one approach. The other approach, I told you there were two, is that if you create a different world, so let's take the movie Avatar, right? You create a different world, and then you need to enter in this world, and then with the time, your brain will start to accept it. And then the world will become more and more and more realistic the more time you spend in. I have an experiment, and I'm not saying people to do this experiment, but there is a game called, there is Minecraft, right?
That's exactly what I thought you were talking about.
It's designed very poorly, meaning that, according to a lot of people, meaning that the characters are moving like this, and there are a lot of very few sprite or 3D. Actually, they are polygons.
I worked for Xbox when Minecraft came out, and I thought there's no way this will ever be popular. That no one's going to accept this.
But listen, I tell you to do this experiment if you have free time, and a lot of people, they do have free time because they are in a lockdown. So if you, I guarantee you, because I did it, if you play Minecraft for 20 hours straight, 15 hours straight, you will not see the polygons anymore.
No.
You will see the trees, you will see the mountain, you will see the river, you will see the forest, you will see the snow. You will not notice anymore that are just blocked this big, because your mind accepted as a new reality, and you accepted that as the tool to tell you the story.
I don't want to admit how many hours I have spent underground just digging and looking for stuff, and I'm going to build this badass castle underground or one up in the sky. And you're right.
I will not go there. I will not go there because I would get addicted. I know it.
Right. That's
and
right.
then, and not only that, but I would start dreaming in blocks.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Like for a foreigner, when do you start to dream in English and you stop to dream in Italian? That's really freaky. The first time I had dream in English, they were really strange. I knew something was wrong.
My mother's Korean, and she said that it was really strange for her when she started to speak English more often. And she said it used to be that when she spoke, she was thinking in Korean and then translating it, and then it would come out of her mouth.
Wow.
But now she's at a point where she's speaking English. When she's speaking Korean to her family, it's the other way around.
Wow.
Yeah.
He has to
Time is
think
spent.
in English first.
Yeah. Again,
Now,
if
how many languages do you speak, Leonardo?
I speak only Italian and English. I understand a little bit of French, thanks to
Only,
Francois
he says.
and his movies. A little bit of Spanish because it's very similar to Italian. I tried to study Japanese because I was very, like curious, and I used Rosetta Stone and I tried, but it's so difficult. It's so difficult that I give up. And yes, it's all about these different words, and sometimes people get addictive, like you said, and they get addictive to even style of some directors,
Right.
and so they in their mind they love a director so much because they are addictive of the style that every single movie that director create, because he is so strong in the style that he's creating that they want to follow all the times that these guys use in the style. In my mind I am a big fan as well, David Lynch. If you love David Lynch,
yes.
the style, and if I know that there is a new movie from David Lynch, I'm not gonna watch the trailer. I don't need to. I'm gonna go and watch the movie because I know his style. I am very addictive to his style, and I know that I will be, into his world, his dreams, that he does.
And watching the trailers of a David Lynch series or movie, it might entice you to go into it, but it's not going to tell you shit about what's going on.
Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, I don't recommend to see trailers of David Lynch movies. Just go to watch the movies, And a lot of other directors have a lot of strong style. Like, I don't know, in my mind is Tim Burton. When Tim Burton does something, especially stop motion or animated, that you're watching Tim Burton. When there is Hitchcock on the screen, you're watching a Hitchcock movie, even if there is not the title there, already. And Kubrick is the same. You're watching a Kubrick movie, even if there's not the title on the screen. And if
whether you're straight or you've just ripped a couple of good bong rips, it's a Kubrick.
Right. So you can be addictive to a style as well, and is the same thing. So I'm sorry I went too far.
No, not at all. Now, Leonardo, you've been around the business for a while, and I know we're over the hour mark. I still have a couple of questions, and we're having fun here. Of course, if you need to bow out, we can wrap this thing up. But one thing I wanted to ask you is, if you had one actor is there one actor that you would really like to work with, whether it's in sci-fi or thriller, or maybe there's a couple of actors that you would like, or actresses that you would like to work with?
I would love to work with Kurt Russell. I met him briefly in the Eightful Eight of Quentin Tarantino on set, and we talked to each other. And he told me that he was in Italy. He had cooking lesson in Italy. He loved Italian food and Italian wine. But that wasn't enough. I was like, because you can't just meet him one time and say, "This is my business card. Please call me back. I have a card for you." Right. And that was exactly what was going on. Wait, I want to connect with you. I don't know. It's an actor that I like so much. I am a big fan of Escape from New York and
yes,
Los Angeles and
Snake Plissken.
Yeah, Snake Plissken. That in the Italian translation they translate with Jena Plissken. It's funny that they think. I don't know. Thank you so much, guys. But I always have a dream to work with him, and so I hope that sooner or later, because these are normal people, so they're gonna die eventually. And this is the frustration that you have, that the time is passing even for these legendary actors. This guy was acting from the age of 5, 6, I think, in shows, and his talent, guys, is mind-blowing. I don't know if I can share this story from the Tarantino set, but I will anyway. And so he was on set of the Eightful Eight, and Quentin was watching a lot of things, and Kurt was busy talking to the gaffer and say a joke. This happened. This is reality. This is real story. And so he was telling a joke, and he was saying, "Oh, this guy comes," da, da, da. And Quentin goes, "Okay, guys, are you ready? 3, 2," and he go to finish the joke, and action. And Cart turn around, and he goes, "Is anybody here that want to deal with his behavior, his acting, personality, and everything, and finish the scene? You need to say now and only now." And then Quentin goes, "Okay, cut." And then he go back to the gaffer and say, "No, because the joke." And then he goes there and there. And I'm like, who is this guy? You know, how is able to switch on and off?
Wow.
This is so easy, you know. And for us, actors are tools, and I can only dream to have an actor like this in my movie, you know, that is in that Ulysses. And I can just dream to have Kurt Russell in my Ulysses and do the movie. So thank you for letting me dream, Matthew.
Now, Kurt, if you're out there listening, then you know now that you have a good fan here that wants you to star in one of his movies. Now, I also wanted to ask you, Leonardo, because you being Italian born, and we look, you know, somewhere in the same age range. Did you enjoy the old doggone it, Sergio Leone westerns?
Of course.
Matthew, with that big old beard with the gray in it, you're gonna insult our guest like that?
I love it. The Sergio Leone movies, it's like I grew up with that. When I was in the film school, every single day for 3 years, every morning there was a cinema underground, and we were watching movies from Nouvelle Vague or Neorealismo Italian, you know, the classic from Italy, Fellini, Antonioni, Rossellini, and there was Sergio Leone as well. And these days when Sergio Leone Western were playing this movie theater, they were legendary, you know, because I was able to see the original copy restored in a movie theater. It was the best part of my life. I remember it.
And we're right there. We're right there together, because when those would come out, whether they were at the drive-in or I went to the dollar theater because they came back around. I mean, I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly countless times, you know, probably 40 times. It just came on a couple of weeks ago, and me, my mother-in-law, my wife sat in there and watched it.
That's funny that you say that, because that movie was restored by the National Italian Film School, and I remember they project the movie even in festival all around the world. And one year I was at the Venice Film Festival in Italy, and the movies weren't particularly good, the new movie of Nouvelle Vague, and so I see the program, and I see between the new movie of new filmmakers all around the world, there was the bad and the good and the ugly of Leone, and I'm like, I'm gonna go to watch again this, because I know that is a masterpiece, you know. I'm not gonna spend any time. And I went to the movie theater, and again for the 10th times I watched the movie projected, and I was so happy. That movie is a masterpiece, you know?
It is. It really is. And it's one of those that growing up, we had first gotten cable TV. This is when HBO and Showtime and everything was brand new. And of course, I think it's still true today. When they would show a movie, they would show it, you know, 3 times in a week at the same time every day. And so I would come home from school, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly was on, or The Outlaw Josie Wells. And so I would turn those on as I'm doing my homework, and it drove my little sister nuts, because for 3 months there, it was either The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly or The Outlaw Josie Wells. But they're classics, man. And you know, I was so stoked when Clint came back, and then they didn't have that quote unquote spaghetti Western feel, but when he did Pale Rider and Unforgiven, I keep praying. I'm like, he's old enough, man. He could do one more Western of just as I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. You know, he's retired and he's got to go kill somebody. but yeah, I just had to ask that, man, because that.
Yeah, I know one thing that you may not know about that movie. So that movie looks so spectacular projected in a movie screen because it was filmed, but there was a very strange things going on. The camera that they used were invented by Sergio Leone and his camera operator and his cinematographer. It was called 3-perf or 2-perf. That is perforation, 3 perforation or 2 perforation. So the camera was going in a different rhythm, and because basically they didn't want to waste the space on film, because on film there is space between one frame to another one, and then there is sound on a side. So they decided to remove everything and finish one frame exactly when was starting one. So one magazine, instead to spend $1,000, was actually $700 and $600, and they were saving money on the film to be able to buy more film. Can you imagine? Wow. They were obligated to do these technical tricks to finish the movie and to be able and this is amazing, because doing these tricks they made one of the classic old time that we will watch forever, you know. So sometimes, like I said before, you are obligated to have restriction actually give you some creativity that will push you in the right direction. Yeah.
And the good, the bad, and the ugly for back in that time, that was a long movie. You know, these days a 2.5 hour, 3 hour movie is nothing. We kind of expect it with a lot of them, but back then it wasn't all that normal. And for this epic Western, you know, and you got Lee Van Cleef and Clint, and then you got Sergio Leone, and just the whole freaking movie, it's just a masterpiece. It really is.
And I know that a lot of time they were shooting on sunset and sunrise only, just to have that soft orangey light. So you know, in one day they were using, you know, 1 hour in the sunset and 1 hour in the sunrise, and then go home. So they were crazy people, you know. But the result is right there. You know, it's a movie that everybody loves, and it's a master. So yeah, I am a big fan of Sergio Leone, and I hope that this kind of genre of Western will never die. And I have a Western that I wrote, and I hope one day I will be able to produce. And it's a story of a revenge. I think I really like the idea of revenge for a Western for some reason, because it's a very violent time. So revenge fit pretty well on the scenario, and so I think it's a very noble time, like samurai. You know, the cowboy are the same of samurai, so there are a lot of similarities. Even, you know, if you know, Akira Kurosawa also made some movies, and Sergio Leone copied the idea of the samurais and put it in the cowboys. I love this. I really like all of this. So I can talk here for forever. So I need the limitation from you guys to tell me that's it, Leo. Your time is over.
I wanted to ask something else here real quick, because this is something that I've heard from folks that before pre-COVID that would travel to Italy, especially in the last decade or so, that Italians aren't that favorable, don't have that favorable of a view to Americans, and especially in some of the little smaller towns. Have you seen that? And if so, has it exacerbated with the COVID, with how we are handling the pandemic?
No. I think no. I think this was happening during the Bush time. So when there was Bush Jr. that was so belligerent all over the world, declaring war to everybody. So for Italians, Americans were like, why you guys like to be belligerent all over the world? You know, you guys are not the police of the world, because the police of the world doesn't exist. In Italy, we decide what to do. In France, they decide what to do. In Spain. So I think that was the only time when I remember there was some friction. But right now, absolutely not, because Italians, like everybody else, are being absorbed a lot on the American culture, you know. Now, like never before, the teenagers, for example, they love rap music. In Italy, when in the world an Italian loved rap? Tell me about it. Hip hop.
Really? Rap?
And so they're all into hip hop, American hip hop, Italian hip hop. Come on, we invented opera, and that you need to go to bother hip hop and rap. That drives me nuts. But thanks America and how they are good on expand, their Americanization of the countries. Now Italians have rap as well. Thank you very much.
Okay, so you've got the rap over in Italy, and now we're getting K-pop over here. So
Right.
it's big old circle.
And
Wait
then
till they start mixing all three.
that they go to McDonald's. I mean, you can enter in a mom and pop restaurant and have an amazing food. No, they decide to go to McDonald's, or I don't know. I think it's bizarre, but it is what it is. Big influence. He's Americanized as well, Italy. So we love
Gotcha.
America.
Well, we're gonna start wrapping this up, Leonardo. But of course, we want to give you a chance to shout out to anybody you want to shout out. Tell everybody where they can follow you, and then the main thing that I want to ask, and we always have one question we have to ask you, but what is next? What is next on your agenda as the world stands right now?
All right. So what exactly is next? I have no clue because I have so many projects and I need to wait for some DJ approval for some, and we don't know if we can start production of some other. I am in the middle of production of a lot of things. So I am still working at home in the computer and anything else, but what exactly is coming next, I don't know. And people can find me in all the social media. I use social media a lot. So Instagram is Leonardo Corbucci, and Twitter is Leonardo Corbucci. Facebook is Leonardo Corbucci. And what else there is? There is
LeonardoCorbucci.com.
Yeah. So because I am the only guy with this name and this family name, Leonardo Corbucci, it's very easy to find me all over this platform. But if
I ever open an Italian restaurant, it's going to be Corbucci's. I just love saying that name.
I will be there. And then for everything else, legendaryseries.org is about the legendary documentaries that I was telling you about. On Amazon, if you have Prime, you can watch Legendary AD for free. And if you are a lover of movies, I recommend you because there are a lot of stories from any kind, from the Goonies to Superman to even Star Wars. There are stories that they never say these stories anywhere else.
And that's available on the Legendary AD is available on that website?
On Amazon. Yeah, on Amazon, and it's free for Amazon Prime members. So you can even watch it for free. And then cyborgsuniverse.com is the official website of the sci-fi TV show Cyborg Universe. And this is in Amazon as well. And you can watch the season 1. And then what else? There is if you go to leonardocorbucci.com, you will find out the press release that we're gonna release soon for this new movie called Inferno. I don't know yet how much we can say, but we will try to say the most is possible. And all the information are in this social media, and I hope to go back to TV shows soon because I really like TV shows as well. You have more space. You can make your character much longer because you have more time to develop.
Right.
I like TV shows, and then it's funny because in the beginning of the time, TV and movies, there was a lot of snobbish from movie guys talking to the TV guys, and now it's almost vice versa. So
and even actors and actresses kind of used to snub their nose at TV shows of, no, I don't want to get in.
Commercials too.
Right. And then now you're seeing a lot more of that where some mainstream, actors are moving into television and even streaming services, where they're doing an episodic adventure or show on some of the streaming services.
Yeah,
but of course, Leonardo, we told you back in April, and we definitely want to say it again. Anytime you've got something new coming out or you got a press release, reach out to us. You know how to get in touch with us. We love you over here. We love what you do, and we damn sure want to let our audience know anytime you've got something going on. And I don't know if we were able to ask you this question last time around because we had the panel thing going on. We had a band coming behind you. And one thing that we always ask of our guests here on Geek Speak is if you could go back in time and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
I will say, for sure, don't spend too much time on all this technology obsession. So don't be so focused on which camera to use, which computer to use. Oh, should I use a Red? Should I use Arri? Should I use Bill's lens? So technicality, they remain technicality. What matter is something else. So a lot of time, young kids, they get focused so much in the technicality of making movies, and they forget that make movies is first of all talk to the actors. That's it. You start all there for a director. You go to talk to your actors. You let them know what you want, and you together build the story. So if I go back in time, I will focus more on this. So maybe start on theater. And right now, where are the theater? Where are the theater in Los Angeles? I know there are many, but they're not popular at all, and kids, They forget they have theater as well. That is an unbelievable tool. Go to the theater, go to teach to have a physical contact. Well, right now it's not even possible to do that. Wait for the COVID to finish. But that helps more than other technology, deprivation in your mind to be hours and hours looking the specs. These are just numbers. That will not help you to make a good movie or a good script. So I will do for sure this.
Beautiful answer. And I wanted to touch on one other thing before I forget. You had mentioned this earlier. If you guys decide to put together a Q&A with the folks from Cyborgs Universe, you better hit us up. We'll get a panel going like this. We will do it in advance so folks from Indie Volt Radio can submit questions in advance, and then of course having the live chat as well, to where we can promote it beforehand. So we'll do it 2, 3, 4 weeks out so that we can have everybody on, but especially hint, as the world opens back up and we start looking at a season 2, we'd love to have everybody on.
I will love to do this because the actors are amazing, and you guys will love to listen them, not only to need to listen to me. Finally they can say their point of view.
Pleasure.
And they're amazing. So I will love to do this. They deserve it so much. They did an amazing job. They worked so hard because it was so difficult to do all of this with the super small amount of money that we had. And we spent so much time in casting. So they are really amazing human beings and talented people. I would love to do that. Thanks for.
Well, we love meeting the creatives behind the finished product, and especially the directors, the writers, the producers, but also the talent, because without that whole coalesce, the project doesn't happen.
That's right.
And the actors, for me personally, there are some actors and actresses that I just love, and I'll see whatever they're in, but they are the extension of the writer. Me and Meredith over here are writers, and so we love seeing that stuff come to life. But anytime that you have something going on, please hit us up. And folks, that goes for anybody out there in Indie Volt World or YouTube or Facebook, wherever you may be listening. If you or someone you love is an indie creator, whether you're a writer, you're an artist, you're a director, an actor, we want to hear from you. We may not do a full-length interview with you, but we're definitely going to help promote you. because that's what we like about here at Geek Insider. And we've got a lot of stuff coming up. Meredith, if you want to throw it up, November 9th through the 13th, we are doing another indie event. And we're waiting until after October to do a horror kind of theme because everybody and their daughter is doing something in October. We are doing it in November. We're going to end it on Friday the 13th. We've got some great guests that we're speaking with right now about getting them lined up as far as from Full Moon Features and Shudder. But if you are anyone
Gloria, they confirmed.
Oh, yes. Nice. And so we've got some great guests lined up for that week. I just put an article up today on GeekInsider.com. I am looking for psychics, mystics, aura readers, tarot card readers, witches, anybody that is in the quote unquote dark arts. I want you for an episode of Geeky, Cheeky, and Downright Freaky. If you've seen this show, you know I don't make fun of anybody. I seriously want to know about your craft and your talent.
And you're at a new time too. Don't forget to mention that you are available. Your show moved to
Sunday nights at 9 o'clock Eastern. We've been on Wednesdays for a long time, but now that we're on Indie Vote, we've moved over to Sundays. We like the 9s over at Indie Vote. You can catch stuff Monday or Sunday through Saturday on Indie Vote, 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern on Indie Vote Radio. But I am looking for anyone that is in the mystical arts. I want to talk to you. I want to learn about your craft. I want to help my audience learn about your craft, and I want to promote you. If you're a charlatan, though, or you're out to rip somebody off, don't reach out to me because I'm going to look at your reviews and I'm going to look up stuff about you. And if you're out to rip people off, I'm going to call you out. So don't reach out.
So there.
Yeah, so there. I want real people because Geeky, Cheeky, and Downright Freaky, we talk about the fringe kind of things, the Mandela effect and time travel and UFOs and ghosts and angels and all of that kind of stuff. And this is one of those kind of things that I have known witches. I have known psychics. But I want to talk to those folks that are serious about their craft. Maybe we can do some live readings on the air, just depending on what we can do here. But I definitely want to speak to anybody and everybody. But a big thing is going back to the indies. If you are an indie creator, Meredith at GeekInsider.com, Matthew at GeekInsider.com. Make sure you tune in, if all else, November 9th through the 13th. Because I guarantee you there's going to be some names involved that you are going to want to tune in for. Meredith, you want to lead us out with an outro for Leonardo and some commercials?
Well, we are going to definitely do that. I wanted to thank everybody for tuning in to Indie Vault Radio, Geek Insider, Comic Book Advocates Network. We're kind of like the trifecta of networking. And I wanted to thank you, Leonardo, for spending an hour and a half with us, handling the jet lag with such grace. And
well, we could probably talk to him for the next 9 days because he's stuck at home.
We've got a captive audience. I love it. I love a captive audience.
Well, thank you so much, guys. You guys are legendaries, are my legendaries. So thank you for this filmmakers and to tell their stories. Thanks.
And you are more than welcome to stay in the green room while we do our outros and stuff. But if you have to get going, we understand. We can get in contact with you through Facebook. And in the meantime, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This is Geek Speak with Matthew Harris. And
we'll see you Thursday.
See you tomorrow. Luke Stone and Dan Davis. Tuesday, September 15th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. They are comic book creators, illustrators, and artists. We're going to be sitting with them for about an hour. All right, you guys. Have a great evening.
You've been tuning in to Geek Speak with Matthew Harris and Meredith Loughran, a Geek Insider presentation. Subscribe to the Geek Insider podcast on your favorite listening app and sign up for the newsletter on our website. We also have advertising opportunities through the website, podcast, and newsletter. For details, contact advertising at GeekInsider.com. This has been a Geek Insider production Thank you for listening. Geek out.